that's put it in those RPCs. So that's that 2 minutes, and then you load the 2 positions, back it up, walk to the mid, save one of that out residual, and then create a new WAV. Then at that point, we have now
check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Alright guys, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Trying to iron out the details with the intro and everything and get that going and be doing a lot more streams, especially once I get that up and running. Still waiting on a couple more things for streaming setup, because I'm actually going to try to go full force in this here soon. I feel like I have the knowledge that is needed for it, and from there we can maybe get this thing going more regular. It's nice to have an intro video and everything. Shout out to Wayne. But let's go ahead and get started. I want to cover Bitcoin, just a few altcoins that I'm personally in at the moment. I'm not in too many. If you guys remember, I did consolidate into a few, and from there we protected ourselves against some downside risk. So let me go ahead and pull up. I'm going to go through some of the things that are in my port right now. It's highly focused. Mostly BTC, ETH, Ondo have been my main top three at the moment. And I took a lot of time to kind of refocus everything the last few weeks and kind of consolidate my portfolio. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and get started over some of the basic ones. BTC. So one thing with BTC is we are below the weekly inverse fair value gap that I had over here for a while. So this is a sign of weakness. I am looking to see if we can close back above this at some point. If not, I am looking for a potential maybe move back up into this, and we can come down to 42. This is a bat, doesn't mean we have to. It is possible. But it's also possible that we are just in a Wyckoff accumulation here off this bearish bat that we had. So if we do go into like a Wyckoff reaccumulation, there's multiple Wyckoff ones that you could look at. You have the distribution top, which is possible. Then we also have here, let me get them pulled up for you. So these are a couple things just to keep in mind when you're looking at this. I'll hide this for now. A few things that we could be looking at, right? We could have something like this where we got a distribution top. Because I do still believe we're in a bull market, we could be in a reaccumulation, and that would look something more like along these lines. Where you come up, here, let me make this bigger for you so you can see it. But it all depends. We're gonna have to see what the market tells us. This is what I've been thinking, but could always be wrong, right? So we'd be more around phase D and C and D here. We swept the low. If we get a chop down here into a strong reclaim above this, that will be the go signal for me for the reaccumulation. If we start rejecting this and coming back down, that's more of a distribution for me, which would confirm that. So those are a couple things I'm eyeing. Remember, we did have a high time frame bullish bat down here around 42.5. Not sure if that's gonna hit, but it is there. I do have it marked just in case. This weekly bullish div that we're forming on BTC is just getting larger and larger by the day. You can really see it even on a 3-day here. We are starting to form a nice hidden bullish divergence on the 3-day, on the RSI, and the MACD, which can send this thing a lot higher and can take a long time to even play out with some of these, which is good, right? If we hold this low down here, as long as this is held, macro, we're going much higher. Ideally, I don't think we see that low. We could. It is a potential. We have this over here. One thing to remember too is this could have been a type 2, which I missed earlier, but I think somebody pointed it out to me. This was a type 1. This could be the type 2 reaction that we had from the last cycle's butterfly top, which is why we had to move down. So if you want, we could always measure this and see how far down we've retraced so far. Overall, I mean, I'm not selling my bags yet. Maybe we get a move down to this 382 or to the 0.5. 618 would be way too, I don't want to see that big of a pullback into a bull market, but we could. But that's just something to keep in mind, right? Maybe we see something along the lines of come back up, retest, come down, sweep this low here, hit that 382 and then go. But for now, I'm just gonna keep stacking on these dips for Bitcoin. I don't think it hurts. It's gonna be one of the stronger coins out of this to start with anyways. I mean, you can find a lot of alts that'll be strong, but Bitcoin, I mean, historically is very strong after a halvening. Right after the halvening for like a couple 100 days, 100 or so, you will see this little bit of decline. And then after that, within a year, you see Bitcoin at least double, typically, from every happening that we've had. So I'm gonna keep adding on dips if I can until I'm out of money that I want to put into the market. But that's just Bitcoin for me. Let's go ahead and go over ETH. So Bitcoin, before I stop with that one, I do want to see us get above 58. Ideally 60K is the level for me that we have to get above and start flipping. But baby steps with that, right? Some of these alts are the ones that I really want to cover, higher time frame. I have some nice harmonics on them. So we did hit take profit 2 for East Shark here. We have a potential crab down to like this area. There's also a Gartley. This isn't to scare anybody, it's just to show you like, hey, this is possible. Like, we do have a level down here for a harmonic, which is the 786, which is a Gartley, and I love Gartleys. If you guys have followed me for a while, these are my favorite to trade. Absolute favorite. Let's get rid of all of this. So if we start to lose this low and we sweep here into this Gartley, historically Gartleys for me play out really well. Some of my best trades. So that's something to keep an eye on. If we're going to keep these equal lows here, Might have actually swept it already. But if we do get one more push down at 2,500, I'm probably looking to bid that pretty heavily. And that would kind of line up with the ETH BTC chart I'm looking at as well. It's not going to stop me from bidding some ETH now just for spot, but with ETH BTC, I still have this higher time frame, Gartley, which ideally this would be the best buy with ETH versus your Bitcoin at 0.036. Like, I would probably empty most of my bags from BTC into there. I always keep some BTC no matter what, but I would rotate a lot there. There is a potential bat here. Down to the 886. So I'm keeping my eye on this for ETH BTC. If BTC starts to perform a little bit stronger here and get an impulse move up, I could be looking at ETH down here. Maybe that might be another good opportunity to rotate into some ETH longs versus BTC. But ideally, sooner or later, I hope this 0.036 gets hit, because that'll just be such a great buy with ETH versus my Bitcoin. So that's more spot oriented. I know there's some people that are trading leverage and degenerate with that. This is more spot. This is where I would rotate down here my BTC to ETH. I've already started to do it, but overall, this is where I would really want to start adding heavier. All right, let's go over a couple of my favorite setups right now. Ondo is one of them. Still one of my favorite. I just added more Ondo this morning to my spot bags. So we had a Gartley 618 here, 618, and then 786. So you have your Gartley pattern here. And I went ahead and added right around here, I think. I woke up pretty early today, and that's where I got in. Ideally, I mean, we could sweep down into the 1618 of this, which is down here. And then you have the 886 of this, which is like right here. So I do have some bids lower down there as well for spot. If these get hit, I don't know if they're going to get hit, but if they do, that's where I'm going to add. You can actually look at this as kind of like a fallen wedge almost as well. So technically we are at the bottom of the range right now. We could, what I'm looking at is, what if we get something like this on Ondo? One more time up, maybe sweep down into it, and then go. So I'm just keeping my eyes on that. We had a daily fair value gap down here too, which is another reason I'm keeping my eye on it. Because if we do get one more sweep of this low here into the 1618 of this harmonic here, like this max extension area for B to D, if we get one more move into this, that's a go signal for me. We sweep into the daily fair value gap, we get that taken out here. And for any of you looking at this, the daily fair value gap, we're looking at this area. This is the space in between the candles where you don't have a wick overlapping into them. So this would be nice if we can get one more move down. I could maybe get another add on my spot bags, and then we go from there for Ondo. And Gartley's, like I said, they're my favorite. This would be an amazing buy for me. I'm super excited about that because I did sell 137, if you guys remember. I sold a good portion of my bag at 137. That's something I called a long time ago. And I had to stick to it. I didn't want to sell it there. Like I think Ondo's going much higher, but sometimes you got to take your profits, man, especially when you have the point where you mark out and you're like, okay, I'm going to sell when I get there. And it gets there. A lot of people won't sell. But sometimes you just gotta do it. I think this is it here. I can actually show you. So it didn't go exactly how I wanted to get there, but it got there. So 137, I still think Ondo moves up to target. Would be a 76% move from here. I started adding again more at 78 cents. Sure enough, we were like down around here in this chop, and we went up to the 137 level, actually a little higher. But that was my target, so I got out. I'm starting to add some of that money back in down here. So far so good with that. And just if you guys follow my Twitter, sometimes I'll update there as well. And then also in my Discord, but this is the area. 137 tag, definitely took some off as it was my heaviest bag. I'm content with what I got left. And then sure enough, I'm gonna try to add back, and I'm adding back now. And why? Because I have a setup that has presented itself, a Gartley pattern. When I took profits, it was just here. We had no 618. I had no clue. I mean, I saw this fair value gap, but I'm like, okay, how are we gonna get there? Like, what is gonna be the pattern? Where do I want to start to enter? I used the harmonic. I found the Gartley here. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna add at the D point here with spot. Easy invalidation where I can cut some of that. And it was a good re-entry. I got it for like, I don't know, at a discount from, I didn't buy the bottom of that, pretty close, about 32% off. So not too bad. But this is what I'm looking at on Ondo. FTM, I did a leverage trade on this morning. Or last night, I think I took it. And I also picked up a little bit of spot last night. Nothing crazy. But I wanted some of this because the chart just was speaking to me from a harmonic perspective. All right, from like a harmonic perspective, like I cannot not pick up some of this when FTM historically does perform pretty well too when ETH does as well. And it had a nice move actually from the bear market lows. Like it had a nice 10x almost, or 8x. So it did pretty well. And it just higher time frame harmonics are popping up. We have a bullish bat here, which is a 0.5, 618 into an 886. And that lines up at the same place as from the bottom here, like cycle low almost. 618 pullback here to a 618 move up to a 786 for a Gartley here with almost a 1414. So you have two harmonics that are like picture perfect ratios, almost at the same exact points. I could not fade that. So I had to pick some up. I did a leverage trade at 41 cents here last night. Still have that open. I did scale a little bit off this morning just because I do want to turn this into a swing, and I did go pretty heavy, so I wanted to loosen my stop loss a little bit. Just because I like this trade on the higher time frames, and I can always add back if we retest this area, because these macro harmonics like this, it's not just getting, sometimes it does, right? I mean, IMX is an example. Sometimes it just goes straight up from those D points. Sometimes you chop, you come back down, you take a low, you move. So, but it is going to be a potential reversal zone. So this is the area that you want to look for this chart to reverse at. So I don't mind scaling some out as we go up. I do think this was a good entry overall. And we'll see how it goes. If I go to an older chart, I think we have more data here that I can show you and look at. Let's just mark this low. So overall, I mean, it doesn't look bad here. Like this is an area that is a pretty good historic support and resistance that we've had in the past. With those two harmonics that we have on it, right? Like, I mean, just looking at this chart, just from high time frame with the Gartley here. I mean, people are gonna look back on this and be like, damn, look at that Gartley, and then look what we had up from this. Like, who gives a fuck if you chop a little bit lower? Say you come down to like 31 cents. Buying spot in this area or anything, like, it's not gonna matter when you're at $1 or something. Like, it's just not. You're not gonna give a shit if you bought at 41 cents or 30 cents. You're gonna be happy either way. Hold on, I gotta turn off my robot vacuum. It's a little loud right now. All right. Yeah, you're just not going to care either way. We could go over like other harmonics like that this thing might have, like projection wise. But I don't really see too many right now. The main thing you're going to want to look at is we have these equal highs up here. That's going to be a good target. I think minimally from here you can take this trade with spot for a 3x. 2x your money. Put in $1,000, you get $3 grand. I mean, that's not bad. You put in 5K, you can have 15. It's not a bad trade. And it looks good. It just looks good. You're protected a little bit more on your downside. You have a Gartley. Overall, it's a good trade. You have the bullish bat. So, you got equal highs for a nice target up here with some liquidity sitting up here. Right into an untouched fair value gap that you have right above this. So, why not? All right. Let me go over. There's a couple more I wanted to go over, and then from there, I'll do probably a couple requests, not too many, but if anybody has a request, I'll probably take about 2 or 3. So put them in the chat. Please no absolute S coins, and then we'll go from there. Total 3, I wanted to go over that real quick. This is everything except BTC and ETH. This is one thing I was pointing out to my Discord group is we did have a Gartley. The B leg's a little bit lower than a 618, but we came down and we tagged this nice at a 786 level here for a bullish Gartley on total 3 for altcoins, which is overall not too bad. So as long as this area holds, man, I think altcoins are going to look pretty good. Total 2, actually our old harmonic that we had down here that got invalidated from this crab, deep crab that we had, we're actually flipping the D point into support, like perfectly, like literally perfectly. So old harmonics that fail, sometimes when they come back and they back test as a support, they end up turning into a support. So that's just something to note too. Like this old harmonic is actually flipping perfectly into a support at the moment, which is bullish. Let me see, what else was I want? Oh, I wanted to go over PAL, P-A-A-L. Came back into another value area down here. It had a nice move up from this first entry that we had, about 40%. And now we're back. We came back down. We're in the potential reversal zone, this 886, 786 area. Ideal buy is the 886. Anything below that, I think, is a pretty good gift for this coin. But you're going to look back at this chart. You're probably going to see some consolidation in this zone. Maybe one more sweep, break out of this massive fallen wedge that we have, and then you're going to just see this thing mark up. I think this thing is a solid 5 to 10x still at these levels. At least a 5x back to $1 area. This is one that I really like. So I am currently in this one and accumulating every time we dip down and tap this. I am trying to get some more buys in closest to the 886 as I can. If I'm awake or my alerts go off and I can see it. AVAX, we'll go over AVAX and Solana, and then I'll go over Moomoo. So AVAX we took a trade on too. This one I took all spot. We had a order block down here that we came into and tapped. We have a few other things I'm looking at. We have this old harmonic, this bullish bat with your 886 pivot. So we have the 886 marked here. And this was a pivot I'm looking at on a weekly time frame for us to hold above and hopefully don't close below. And so far we're getting wicks below, but look at the candle bodies. You're holding the 886 pivot. You're getting some wicks below, but it's going into demand. We have the order block here, and we also have just the demand of the 886 here from the macro, that it's getting bought up below that on a weekly time frame. So this is something that you wouldn't want to trade on small time frames. So you can look at this for a spot play. You have a perfect 618 here. This can actually get brought down to the low now. And a 1414. So this is a nice Gartley going into a weekly order block up here for a good ratio trade. This is another 3x just sitting right in front of you. You just got to have some balls and some patience. People in the stock market die for 3x's. So you just need a couple of these and you keep doing it, right? Consolidate some bags. Say you have 5K in your port. You pick AVAX or FTM or something and you get a 3x off of them. Now you're sitting at 15K. Then you can maybe find another good setup and rotate. And what if you 3x again? I mean, you're sitting at 45K. I mean, that cannot go bad. So overall, I like this AVAX setup. It looks really good. Got to get above this weekly 50. Maybe we come back, consolidate around this level until we really start to form a base over it, and then you look more for an impulse. But yeah, overall looks good. All right. Oh, AVAX BTC. I'll show you this real quick, and then we'll go to Solana. So I've had this marked forever. Gosh, I couldn't even tell you. It was up here. It was back in December. We had this weekly order block over here that we came and tagged the midpoint perfectly. We rejected it. You can see historically this has been an area of resistance. We first longed AVAX at the beginning of the cycle down here into this demand zone that we had, into a fallen wedge, and it was around like $8-9, I believe. So we longed that. We had a great trade up. We sold everything into the weekly order block for AVAX BTC, and then I looked at this as being a potential deep crab. So I looked for 886 pullback, and I had this marked and we had a weekly fair value gap here. I had this marked forever. I could pull it up from like months and months ago. Like I think I had this back in December last year, and we tagged it. So I'm looking for AVAX to start performing a little bit better, and I'd be happy with just to move up here versus BTC, back up to this B point, ideally. And then if we start to flip that and you see strength, weekly closes above this area, maybe you can see this move up here. But overall, I think this looks great. I wonder if Carney's, yep, look at that. You also have this weekly bat. I mean, look at this. The 886 is, we re-tagged the 886. You came for a type 2 on a weekly bat as well. So this whole chart is a bat with a retap of the 886. It just is a perfect setup on the Bitcoin pair. So that's something to look at. Who knows what kind of narrative or something happens with AVAX where we start to get a move. It might need a narrative to really get up to here, but overall, looking good. Let's look at Sol. Oh, nice move, Sol. Here we go. All right, so Solana, let's start on the weekly. Let's turn off Carney's software. Weekly breaker block. So this is an old order block that was a resistance here. We flip it into support. You're looking at the midpoint to hold. The midpoint holds, turns into a breaker block. You can expand this all the way out. You can actually see the midpoint here has been holding perfectly. And we also had a bullish bat here at the 886. So your 886 was actually holding and has been support. It has been proven to be a good bid 1, 2, 3, 4 times so far. Potential, this might be invalidated now. It's a little bit too far down. I was looking at this butterfly over here for like a move up in this area from here, but Yeah, it could be a little bit too far down for a sea leg, but I still do think if we're going to hold this weekly level here, we are going to see moves up here. Higher time frame, ideally. I mean, there's a huge butterfly here that I will not fade if we get up there at some point. And I'd be looking for something like this. And I think it's like 340 area, 338. Ideally, I mean, this is an area I would look at, and I'd start to look for like a rejection from this area with the 2414 for your butterfly as well. This area for me, I personally would probably sell every single Solana I own, every single one. But that's my target, and the sea leg can extend all the way down, and still be a valid harmonic. So don't think that this has to be the low. This can go all the way down here and still be a bearish butterfly, but this is my higher time frame target if we start breaking above. Lower time frame, we're still kind of chopping around here, looking for strong impulses out of this for us to really pick up some momentum. But for now, I mean, we could consolidate and just chop around for a few more days and weeks until we hit like August or the fall, and then we start to really see this thing rip. But overall, I mean, this area looks good. We took a trade from it down here, if you guys remember. We entered here and then we sold around like 180-ish, and there was a harmonic here for TP2 175. I think when I looked at my phone or the charts, we were around 180, so I sold it there. And now we're looking to hold this area again. So I use that money to buy into spot. I will look at Tau and then Mumu, and then I'm gonna go ahead and call it. All right, so we got a few harmonics printing on Tau. There's the one I had, which was the shark, which was the ideal entry here. And this is where I added some Tau around 250, 260, I think I got in. I am a little bit underwater on this one, but it's not a big deal for me. What is this? A little bit spot bags, so I'm not really worried. It went down 20% from where I entered. I'd be comfortable with this thing going down 41%. I don't know about comfortable. It's not ideal, but it's another entry that I would want to get if we tagged 152 for the 1.13 shark from this area. But overall, I mean, my first entry on this was around $50 when we called it in my Discord. So we shaved some up off of it. I am looking to try to get some of this back in. If AI picks back up, this is going to be one of the leading coins. So overall, I mean, higher time frame, you do have a harmonic. You're trying to form a support just like everything else. MOG is another one that I wanted to cover. So we took this on a leverage trade, and I also bought spot while we were down here for the bullish bat that we had. If you guys remember, I sold all my leverage at all-time high, and I'm starting to add back. I'm going to add back here in this level here, and then if we come back down for one more retest down here, I'm really going to go heavy. But for now, I added my leverage back into it. Like 75% of the profits I had from this, I put into spot down here. So those are going to be like some of the main ones I'm going to hold right now is just BTC, ETH, Ondo, Solana, AVAX, PAL, Tau. I still have some render, not much. It's one of my lower bags now. But this hit a shark recently and swept the lows from this whole consolidation. But that's not like a massive bag for me. I think it's a pretty small percent of my portfolio. But those are going to be the main things I'm going to hold right now. I have some other things on chain like Mumu and Hoppy. So Mumu is actually bouncing pretty nicely off of the fair value gap that we had here on the daily. So we had a Gartley on this too. This is where I was screaming at people to buy some Moo with me. So I got back into this one completely down here. And I added in this fair value gap on the move down because I didn't put enough size as I first wanted here. So we went up, came back down in this fair value gap while we were up here. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna add if we tag here. So I added around 16, I think, so a little bit higher, like up here. But I'm holding this one longer term. I do think this one going into a bull market, and it's the bull mascot, Moo the bull. It's kind of a no-brainer for me. If it fails, then it fails, but this is super left curve. I mean, Moo the bull going into a bull market. I want a bag of this. The memes are funny. I like it. All right, cool. So that's basically everything I wanted to cover. Hoppy was another one. This one, shout out to Vega. This is the one that I posted in the Discord down here. Vega actually helped me out with this one. We were getting in down in this area, I believe. Right around here and then here. So this one has just gone amazing. And if nobody knows what Hoppy is, it's Matt Fury, the guy that made all the Pepe memes. Hoppy was actually the first meme that he made prior to Pepe that was a frog. So let me see if I can pull up the meme. This one's kind of funny. I'll pull this up. But this was like some of the first memes that he made. So they had the Night Riders, and then they had the other one that's with Pepe and all the others for the memes. So this is just a frog meme, and it was a low market cap at the time. I think we're currently at, let me pull up the exact market cap so I'm not lying to you guys, because it had a good daily candle again. So if anybody got in Hoppy with us when we posted it, this one did extremely well so far. Yeah, it's at 75 million market cap now. Oof. So this was multiple X's while everything was going down that we hit. And Draghi, I mean, on Draghi, we hit like a fucking 40 to 50X on that, excuse my language. While everything was going down. I only put in like 2K into that thing. And massive move. Shout out to Vega for that one. If you guys don't follow his Twitter, you should. He's been absolutely crushing it. I appreciate him a lot. So Michi, this is the cat on Solana. I'd have to pull up the deck screener for this one. But it came down into a buy area, and it's actually looking good from this area again. Here, I'll just copy the chart. It's kind of like a shark almost, but not. But look like a good area. Like you tag an 886 from your impulse move up, and you're putting in a higher low over here. So you fill the fair value gap on this area. Things start to reverse. This meme might do pretty well. I think it's not a terrible area if you want to just throw some shekels into it and not have to worry about it too much. Nothing you're scared of or anything, but that's up to you. You can do whatever you guys want. Another one I put a little bit of money into, not too much, is FUD, F-U-D. So this one had a perfect shark on Sui. So this is one of the main coins on Sui. For memes, I just threw a little bit in this. I mean, might look back at this and this be like a 20x in the future, but just had a little bit of exposure to the Sui memes and their top meme on there. Sui looked pretty good last time I checked at it too. Yeah. Came down into your 1618886 macro area. So you came into the 1618, and that's where you're reversing from this level, from a shark. That complete 886 would be down here. So maybe you get one more sweep in the future down in this area, but this is a good area to look to add. and get back in. You had a fair value gap here that got tagged, and boom. I think you could, yep. So far this doesn't look too bad. Aptos, I think, had a full 886 retrace. Yeah, full 886. You can actually just fit that. Pretty much full 886 here. So weekly fair value gap got completely filled down here. Look at that, right at the midpoint, holding it. I mean, it's not a bad place to add. You guys are not late if you want to get spot. Like, it's not a terrible area, man. Like, this is the areas you'd want to see. You want to buy low. When has it, I mean, so far it has not been a bad idea to buy down here. Buy up here and keep it simple if you want it. Just fucking sell up here again. It's a 3x range. What else you guys want to see? Anything? That's basically what I've been looking at. I picked up some of this stock. It's down really fucking bad right now. Long dated call options on this one. I think I grabbed like 20 something and then $30 long dated call options. Multiple harmonics on this. With the meme stocks and everything, this one could go on a nice ripper up to here. Tesla. In Tesla, for my stock portfolio, we got back in down this area. I was telling people to buy around 170. I have some longer dated ones I bought in this consolidation. I only bought a few at the actual low, like not too much. I actually missed buying heavier there. But in this area, with the Gartley that I had here at the 886 is where most of my buys are. For a longer term, $340 dollar call options. And those are going into 2025 and a little bit mid 2025. They are printing right now. I am looking for much higher prices for Tesla. I think this thing's gonna rocket. So far it has the last couple weeks, and this is something that I told you guys not to fade. This is a beautiful setup. So far so good on Tesla. This is one of my favorites. We had the bullish butterfly. We had a bullish deep crab here, deep Gartley. Went a little bit lower. That's fine. Filled the gaps that we had here on the weekly time frame. Almost completely. Maybe one more down here. But from there we've rocketed, and I think this is going to be a banger of a trade that I've been sitting in for a while, and that's why I said long dated call options, and then overall pretty good on this one. So that's another one of my stock holdings at the moment. But thanks guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out in the Discord. And then from there, enjoy the market and let's see how it all goes. Okay, cool. So this was a harmonic. Somebody asked for OXO in the chart. This was a harmonic that I posted forever ago and said if we get 14 cents, it would be a good ad. And I haven't checked this in weeks. So we're at 14 cents. We're at 16 actually right now. We just tagged it yesterday. So we did complete the bullish. This looks just like PAL, right? I mean, this is the same exact thing as PAL. Oh, love to check it. I mean, they're identical. Look, if I just draw a harmonic on the bottom side of this, you have a bat on both. 886, boom. I mean, that's pretty identical. So yeah, if you like this coin, I mean, this is an area that you would probably want to start picking some up. But yeah, like I said, that's all for today. I'm gonna start doing streams more regularly. Now that we have everything all set up for the most part, I'm still trying to fine tune some things with the stream, but overall looking pretty good. Not in the clear yet. For spot, this is areas you look to slowly scale in, mark your levels, start getting some bids, and just sit on it. I mean, personally, I wouldn't be touching too much leverage right now unless you find a really good play, which is one reason I took the FTM trade. I thought it was a fantastic area. You have two harmonics lining up. It should act as a demand. You can take some scalps off of that area. But overall, we're looking to consolidate for this next stage of the market. Historically, we're entering the stage where we're going to really see things take off over the next probably year. But there's going to be up and downs, many bear markets within it. Some alts are still sitting at all-time lows, and some have broken down and formed some lower lows. There's some that are still holding really strong, like Ondo. So overall, I mean, just see where your risk is at. This is one where I've put a good amount of my portfolio into, like earlier in the market, before everything started to come down. So I didn't get as affected as some people did, because I mean, I got into a really strong coin. Luckily, like since March, some things have been going down. This thing is still 75% up from that area where everything has started to collapse, and at one point it was up 2-3x from that area. So I got lucky by rotating a lot into this and being very convicted on this since around 20 cents, where I did take profit at 137 too. So it protected a lot of spot back risk by hedging with Ondo, because it has been such a strong coin compared to if you're looking at some of these other coins that just got completely melted since March. I mean, AVAX is one that got melted since March. See? So overall, we did pretty well by making Ondo one of our biggest bags, 65% here. Well, Ondo was up 65%, but thanks guys. And yeah, BTC is not in the clear, by the way, guys. Nothing is in the clear yet. There's no reason to be super bullish here. I am leaning bull still because I have room to add for some more spot, and at this point I am looking to increase spot holdings. I do not want to be trading leverage consistently here while we chop. We want to look for breakout zones, wait for the markets to kind of settle and digest everything, and then go from there. But we got rejected from here on Bitcoin. We can't get above this 58,265 level, then we could be coming down farther. And this is the BAM theory for the harmonic, the bat that we went over at the beginning of the stream, guys. So just remember, this is definitely a possible scenario. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but it is possible. And you are below the B point now and looking to reject it. So just be careful, guys. Nothing where you're gonna break the bank or you want to over leverage or anything. So just play it piece by piece, man. Some of the alts, we'll see what happens if we go all the way down there. And this could be a quick move. If it does happen, it could be quick. And you only have a couple days to get into it, and you're gonna get an impulse back up. That could be a good trade on the impulse up. And then maybe so impulse down. If this happens, I'm not saying it's going to, you get a nice mean reversion, and then slowly people take profits on that, come back down, and then go. If that happened, that's how I would see it potentially playing out. But maybe we're just messing around with people down here. And lower time frame, just 30 minutes before I get off here for you guys that are being degenerates. Potential harmonic here down to the 886. So maybe you get something like that where you start bouncing down here. But I'll keep my eyes on it. I'm not too interested in the lower time frame. I have a few levels that I want to get some more spot in and then just hold at this point. Like, I'm not trying to leverage trade and lose money when I can just hold at this point, when I think there's going to be higher prices from here in the weekly levels in the future within 4 or 5 months. And it would be beautiful to get some of these lower buys on some of these coins, but we're gonna have to wait and see. All right, thanks guys. I will talk to you soon.